Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's so good to see everyone back on campus, and we're gonna get started. We have lots to get to this morning. I know it's going to be a busy day, but if you all could move in toward the middle, it'll be much better for all the folks that are about to come speak to you. Just get close to one another. Come on, you can, Dr. Nelson over there. You can. Everyone can move in some. Thank you. And we have. Let's move to the next slide, and I'll just tell you the agenda while you're finding your seat. Oh, there's the slide mover right there. Fairly simple, that we're going to do a welcome to new faculty and staff, and then let you know about some faculty staff position changes. We'll share a few of save the dates for you. I'll give you a brief enrollment update, let you know about some important celebrations of a few really important anniversaries in the life of the college. I'm going to share with you some very good news for our campus. We're going to orient you to the brand awareness campaign that's about to hit the streets. And then I'm going to give you an update on what's going to become a very busy campus improvement schedule. Then we'll take a breather, and then Dr. Lee Ball is going to have a session on sustainability on campus. And be sure to stay to the end, because you'll get a nice little gift at the end of that, a fun gift, I should say. And so that's what we're up to. We're going to get right to it, because that sounds like a lot, because it's a lot, but I think it's all really, really good. But first and foremost, we want to say welcome to new members of the Catawba family. So there's a parade of people. Leah Ellington's going to step up and help us out here. Michelle Cadigan, unfortunately, couldn't be here this morning, so Lee's going to stand in for her. Thanks, everybody. It's really good to see you.
Hi, welcome. We're going to start calling names out. Please stand up and hold your applause. Let's make sure we're following directions. This is first day of school. Okay. Hannah Van Ganlin, Assistant Athletic Trainer. Cal Grice, Assistant Director of Athletics Communication. Angelina Perrone, Assistant Coach, Women's Lacrosse. Brian Buckus, Assistant Coach, Men's Volleyball. Tariq Farouk, Assistant Coach, Swimming. Gabrielle Mars, Head Coach, Women's Beach Volleyball. Sarah McIntosh, Assistant Coach, Women's Basketball. Bryce Suber, Assistant Coach, Football, Cornerbacks. Stephen James, Assistant Coach, Men's Soccer. Monica Taylor, Director of Athletes, Facility and Game Day Operation. Brock McMichael, Assistant Director of Sports Performance.
Good morning. For Humanities and Social Sciences, we have Dr. Natalie Rogers, Assistant Professor of English. Natalie, you stand. There she is. Dr. Ashley Shoppy, Visiting Assistant Professor of English. Dr. Allison Yankel, Assistant Professor of Politics. Back there. Dr. Aisha Adams, Associate Professor of Psychology. Dr. Douglas Clark, Assistant Professor of Religion. And Annie O'Brien, Assistant Professor of Religion.
Morning, everyone. In the Kettner School of Business, we're excited to welcome 3 new faculty members this semester. First, Dr. Michael Seda is our new Visiting Assistant Professor of Accounting. We have in the digital media area, A.D. Anas. He joins us as Associate Professor of Digital Media. And in information systems, we have Dr. Gerard DeLeos, who joins us as an associate professor of information systems.
Good morning. In the sciences, we are so pleased to introduce Dr. Luis Fernandez Torres, Assistant Professor of Chemistry.
The School of Health Science and Human Performance. In exercise science, Dr. Logan Daughtry. And nursing, Brittany Clear, and nursing simulation lab coordinator.
Good morning. From the Shuford School of Performing Arts, it's my great pleasure to welcome Mr. Andre Lancaster as the new Technical and Building Manager for the Robertson College Community Center.
Okay, since we didn't follow directions, let's do this one more time. Catawba Online, Carly Truckee, e-learning specialist. Center for the Environment, Michaelan Dorn, office manager. Conferences and events, Karen Ewan, director. Development, Dr. Clapp, development officer. Information technology, Joshua Page, support specialist, tier 1. Evan Whitaker, support specialist, sorry. Lilly Center, Kenise Brown, Lilly Fellow. Marketing and Communications, Julie Hops, social media coordinator. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. In terms of the Office of the Executive Vice President and Provost, I am excited to introduce Dr. Robin Cass, Vice Provost, and Dr. Stefan Moore, Special Assistant to the Executive Vice President and Provost, Chief Student Affairs Officer.
I'm really pleased to welcome Sandra Quay, who is our Vice President for Finance and Administration and Chief Financial Officer. We're very glad Sandra's here. Welcome.
Hi, I'd like to introduce Dr. Donna James, who's not new to everyone, but introduce her as our new department chair for the School of Education, Teacher Education Department.
Good morning. I would like to introduce to you some already know, Tyler Grant. He is, go ahead and stand, Tyler. Tyler Grant is the extended reality technologist. What is that position? It is brand new. Tyler is tasked with helping me with Dreamscape Learn, which we will all be a part of at some point. So thank you.
Also in the category of not new, but a bit of change in responsibilities, naming Mary Catherine Parr as Special Assistant to the President.
And I am excited to introduce Dr. Lee Ball Jr., again, not new, but new in the role of Vice President of Sustainability and Chief Sustainability Officer, Earl Gibbons Jr. in the role of Associate Provost, and Dr. Sharon Sullivan in the role of Vice Provost.
Welcome to all of you again, and we'll look forward to seeing you at lunch. And if I haven't met you, I really want to be able to say hello to you and get to know your name. And we're just very glad that you're here. Let me roll through just some save the dates. We're just noting that the commissioning ceremony is going to happen with all the first years all at one time this year on Monday evening at 7:30, and is a wonderful way of framing the experiences of our new students. You know, when we welcome them at orientation, they start here in this room because this is where they end when they graduate. And then they will be commissioned over in the chapel because that's where they go to baccalaureate and other ceremonies at the end of their career. So please join us that night. Along with that opening convocation the next afternoon at 4 o'clock. Then classes start. You ready for that? August 21st, first day of classes. I assume you'll be there. Remember our first draft, our tradition of meeting down at New Sarum. First draft happens at the beginning of the semester. For those of you that are new, you can look later in the spring for final draft. You get to play on words. Retro Rewind, which is the college night out down on the green, and this is students from all the area colleges, but faculty and staff are welcome. It's a great time down there to meet students and let them get to know each other, so we hope you'll come to that. You wouldn't want to miss this, Jeff Little Trio in concert right over here in Hedrick Little Theater, August 24th at 7 p.m. We're raising some money for wonderful instruments for our students to use here on campus. Most exciting announcement of the whole year. This is the year when our accreditors, Dr. Sullivan's been hard at work getting our self-study done. That goes to them very soon. And the committee reads all of that, and then they come visit us in person. You see those dates here. Those of you who've been working on the QEP, this is involved in all that. We just want you to note the dates. It's a really important thing in the life of the college. It happens every 10 years. Just note that. And then Day of Giving happens on September 27th, always a fun time, followed by the family weekend, which occurs on that weekend. We'll look forward to seeing parents and families on campus with our students. Homecoming, October 18th through 20th. So just a note, mark your calendars with all those things, and I'm going to turn it over to Earl for some, I think, good news about enrollment.
Hello again. All right, so we've had a exciting year in many ways. Some ways where we're literally excited, and other ways where we're pulling our hair out. Luckily, on the hair front, I'm good, right? So I've been good for about 15 years, so, you know, no lost hair for me. But we've had a lot of challenges as you may be aware, with FAFSA and the entire government debacle there and managing that. And I want to, before I show you the numbers, I just want to express my thanks to the team in admissions, in financial aid, the registrar's office, student success, all of enrollment management, and all the work that they've done. And it started at the beginning when we were aware that this was going to be a challenging year, and admissions and financial aid at the beginning start pulling it all together. And we set the strategy, we adjusted when we needed to adjust because of the challenges, and we've had a great year. So before I move forward, I just want to give all of them a hand. So here we are, first-year students. As you can see, we are up. Last year we were at 308. Now we're at 342, and we've actually, we're waitlisting at this point. That's where we're at this year. Transfer students, we're down a little bit. That is a result of what we have experienced with FAFSA in our different markets. But we're up in first-year students, so from a revenue perspective, we're actually better off in revenue because we have so many more first-year students. Reentering students is flat, it's the same, and then that gives us our grand total. Also, I want to give kudos to Catawba Online and our admissions counselors in online. They've really been going after it, and so we are up with our online students. We're at 131, and then our graduate students as well, we're at 110, and so our grand total is great. We've set a lot of records this year. We've set records in most completed applications, most submitted applications, and right now we're looking at, we're parsing through the data to see if we have the record for the most students enrolled or deposited here at Catawba College. So I don't want to say that yet because I don't actually know. We got to go through the data and see how we count students. But it's been a record year, and it's been a lot of work, but we've been working with good people and good teams, and we've been getting it done. So this is our numbers this year, so thank you all.
So I want to say a word about that. This was more than challenging, not because of anything we created, but this was foisted upon colleges and universities across the country by the government, who are here to help, right? And it's been a challenge, and the team really rallied, and just pause and think about those numbers. So that's about up between 9 and 10% on first-year students and 9 and 10% overall. In a year where I have colleagues who are really worried right now because their numbers went the other way. And by that, I mean 10%. And that's really, really tough. And in the midst of really difficult conditions, you all rallied to make this work. So a big thanks to Earl and all of the team in the offices that he mentioned. We really, really are grateful to you and the quality of students that are coming. Job well done. Let's thank them again. Board of Trustees met in their summer meeting, and I don't have my notes, Bob, so I'm probably gonna mess this up. But not a lot of action items. The main action item was they elected some officers, and your chair remains Bob Arnold. But also we updated the Articles of Incorporation because we have a couple of new vice presidents here. So Dr. Coward and Sandra Quay have been added to that. Small thing, but it's a reminder of wonderful new leadership that's come to the college. But beyond that, I just really have to appreciate the way our board has engaged in thinking about what happened in year one of our strategic plan, a college of our own. The robust discussion we have about the future of our campus plan, that is the facilities and the grounds and how we're going to create the conditions for you to do your work well and for our students to thrive. And for the second time, we have some guests in our boardroom who came to be with us for some sessions, just like we had Mind Power, that's helped us with our brand campaign. We had another group with us who they are in boardrooms of college and universities all across the country all the time. And the president of that group said to me again last week just how amazing it was to be with the Catawba Board of Trustees. So lots of good things happening there that will lead to decisions that we'll make in the future. But they did meet, and it was a really productive meeting, and could not be happier with the quality of board that we have. So yes, we approved revised corporate resolution. Exciting news, right, Bob? We have some celebrations on the horizon, and Meg Dees is going to tell us all about them.
Good morning. For those of you that I have not met, my name is Meg Dees, and I'm Vice President of Development here at Catawba College. And I just want to take a couple minutes to tell you about 2 exciting years. 2025 marks the 100th anniversary of Catawba College being in Salisbury. For those of you that don't know, Catawba started up in Newton and it moved to Salisbury in 1925. And so we're going to have a full year of celebration. It also marks 60 years that Catawba has been integrated. So we're also going to be celebrating that. I'm not going to go through these in detail, but we're going to have a lot of events. We're going to brand a lot of our current events around these celebrations, and we'll also have a few new ones. We really want to engage our faculty, our staff, our students, our alumni, and our local community. So you're going to really see us making a big effort to bring a lot of different people together in hopes that we get people to realize all the exciting things happening on our campus. So this will continue forward. And then in 2026, it's 175 years of Catawba, which is pretty amazing. So we're going to be continuing on that year of celebration. We're going to continue to brand existing events as well as bring new events. I tell you, we have a really fantastic development office that works really hard. And if you guys have ideas for events or things that you're already doing that you think might be interesting for us to brand and promote, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Meg, and much to celebrate there. Those are some historic markers in the life of the institution and the life of the community, and so I hope you'll take note of those things as they occur and take advantage of them. It's a great way for us to tell the story of what's happening on the campus, and I also want to mention a great way for folks to get to know you and we want them to know you. So we are live streaming this meeting, and so let me say thanks, or welcome, I should say, to members of the Board of Trustees, Board of Visitors, and our Alumni Board who may be joining us this morning. And we've just taken 25 minutes to welcome new members to the community and look forward in the academic year to think about all that's coming up. We haven't even mentioned the stuff of onboarding a bunch of students and welcoming returning students back to campus, and you starting your classes and doing all the work that makes the college run. But I'd like for us to take a few moments to pause. And with all the looking forward and all the anticipation of the semester, let's consider where we are as a college. We are in a very good place. We have our challenges. We have our frustrations, no doubt. We all know that we want to make the good that is so prevalent at Catawba College even better. But we're in a good place, aren't we? Enrollment is not just recovering, it's growing. In fact, the student affairs team has been working and continues to work to fit everybody in this fall. Take note of that. We're working on how to fit everybody in this year. We really like the progress on the quality of students applying to the college. We've seen the arrival of new faculty and staff who are wonderful additions to the Catawba family. We've, over the past few years, begun to make initial improvements to benefits for our employees, retirement, medical. We've had a series of annual salary increases. We are working on completing a compensation study, and our plan is to get that study to the board this October so some decisions can be made about our compensation structure for the future. And I know it's been frustrating getting that done, but we are getting it done. And I'll just note, if you're a faculty member, Dr. Cowart will keep you posted on the progress of that. And if a staff member, Sandra Quay, will be keeping you up to date on that. We've been growing our annual revenues that we bring in from tuition and fees, which grow as our recruiting and retention improves. And that recurring revenue, the revenue that comes in each year from tuition and from housing, is crucial to putting our budget in the right place and implementing adjustments to compensation in the future. We have completed about $35 million of campus improvements in the past 5 years. Pause and think about that. Kettner Hall, Shuford Science Building. Connie, you're rolling through this, right? Center for the Environment. Phase 1 of Newman Park. A host of projects to chip away at a very large deferred maintenance number, which we were told a few years ago is 80 million. It's probably about $100 million worth of deferred maintenance. A whole lot of work on IT infrastructure. You don't see it, but I hope you feel it. There's a lot that's been done, and I think it's worth just stopping for a moment and thinking, boy, with all the things we wish could be done, a lot has been done by a whole lot of you. So just stop and think about that. As we'll mention in just a few moments, we are commencing about $60 million worth of future improvements to the campus, largely focused on student living spaces and student experience spaces. We'll tell you more about that in a bit. That, by the way, you can do math. That's nearly $100 million worth of improvements that will be done over about a 7 to 8 year period on campus. We're launching a brand awareness campaign. You'll hear more on that in just a bit. The purpose of that campaign is to improve our position in the state, the region, and beyond, not simply in the admissions market, but to raise the reputation of the college overall. In addition to all of that, and due to truly extraordinary contributions to Catawba over the last few years, think about this: the college's debt has been eliminated. The number of colleges in the United States who are debt-free are very few. We've been able to not only do that, but our endowment has grown now to nearly $400 million. Yeah, take that in. That's worth applauding. And we're funding scholarships for our students more generously and more strategically than we ever have. We've been working our way to genuine financial stability. We talked a lot about this in 2020 and 2021 during the pandemic, thinking about the future at a really difficult time, talking about what we need to do to work our way to a place that's truly stable and sustainable for the future. For a long time, Catawba had to make do. And you all are really good at making do. You make a lot out of a little, which is so commendable. But we're in a different position now. We don't simply have to make do. We're making things happen. We're making things better. We're especially making things better for our students. That's why you're here. It's why we're here together. We share a stewardship, which is the privilege we have of caring for our students, for watching them learn and grow and flourish and seeing them discover their place in this world. There's a lot of good on this campus. We have students and their families who are entrusting their education and their formation to us. We have donors entrusting us with their resources, and boy, have they been generous to us. We have alumni who are truly making a difference in this world. And I don't simply mean making a good living, though they do, but they live good lives. They live as good citizens. They make their communities better. They're making our world better. And that's a tribute to the work you have done over years. Kimberly and I did a Northeast trip and saw a number of alumni in that region just a few weeks ago. From class of 70 to folks in the 90s. Amazing to hear their stories, and every one of those stories had names attached. Some of them are your names because of your influence on our alumni. We have faculty bringing their expertise and care to the classroom, and staff supporting the success of our students in so many ways. Our shared stewardship is to take good care of the college's mission, our values, our ideal, scholarship with character and culture for service. It's our shared stewardship to take good care of our students and to take good care of everyone who's a part of the Catawba family, including every person in this room. With that stewardship, I'm constantly reminded of the wisdom to whom much is given, much is required. Sort of a constant refrain in my mind these days. And with all of that, I hope that the stewardship that you have, that we all have together, is both a calling and a joy for you. I believe it is. I see it in you when you do your work, even when we have to deal with challenges and frustrations and all of those things that come with part of being a community. Take all of that in for just a moment. Just sit with that. With all the challenges, with inevitable frustrations, with all that we want to be even better, we really are in a very good place, aren't we? So with that in mind, I have some very good news to share. And I am pleased to announce that Catawba College has received an additional $200 million gift to our endowment. So take that in. Yeah, letting that sink in is like no words. Do some math. That's over a $500 million endowment for the college. So. To be a little more precise, it's nearly $600 million. So just take that in. When we announced the $200 million gift in 2021, I know we started asking, how would you get to 5? And how would you get beyond? Because we could imagine at that time all of the good we could do for this college, for our students, for our employees. And if you had told me I would be standing here in 2024 announcing this news, right, Sheila? I could imagine it, but I wouldn't have thought it would be true. But here we are. It's very, very good news, and we're in a very, very good place. So just a couple of minutes of reflection, and then I'd like Bob Arnold to speak to you for a bit. Some reflections. We should be enormously grateful, and I know you are. I just saw that. We should be enormously grateful. We have to recognize that not every college or university is in the place we are. You have colleagues on other campuses having very different conversations on their opening day. So we should be very, very grateful. And with that gratitude, really take in the remarkable stewardship that is ours. To whom much is given, much is required. I think this is a good requirement to bear, don't you? So we will begin to feel the impact of this latest gift in 2025. So let me just remind everyone what this is. This is a gift to the endowment, a body of money that's called a corpus that is gathered and it is invested, now nearly $600 million, from which we draw annual distributions. So we don't just have $200 million to go out and spend next month. That's not what this is. It is invested, not unlike the money that you might have in a pension or in a retirement fund. And that fund, you hope, will grow to a point it can give you some security and put your mind at ease about the future. And that's what a college endowment is like. It's a bit of supplemental income every year. But because of the generosity that's been shown to this school, that supplement is getting really, really large. For a college, an endowment reduces the burden of student tuition to fully fund the budget. Just note that. This doesn't change our emphasis on recruiting the right students and seeing them retain and seeing them persist to graduation on time. We want to do all those things and do them even better. But we don't have to put the burden on those families. It is reduced by the generosity of an endowment like this. This gift moves us beyond stability. The last gift did that, and at that time, Meg Dees repeatedly said, everywhere we went when we told this story, she said this has changed things for us. We've been working on surviving, and now we move to thriving. That first gift in 2021 of $200 million, a subsequent gift of $42 million, and now this move us to a place of thriving. One of our board members, when I called to say this, Bob and I, by the way, called all our board members and emeritus board members, what a joy to get to share this news. And one of them said immediately, that first gift really secured the college for a generation, but this one secures the college for generations. Think of the magnitude of this. You'll have to let it sink in. So what do we do now? Well, we formed a plan. It's called a college of our own. We've already been through the first year of that. You'll see on the website, and I believe we have a booklet that you can see that will tell you some of the accomplishments of that year. We're going to work the plan. We have a 10-year horizon to 2033, 5-year plan to move us toward it. We're going to keep working that plan. You will see we are moving on some things faster than we ordinarily would have, and we're able to do so because of the enormous generosity that has built the endowment to nearly $600 million. I keep saying it because I myself, it's a bit hard to believe. Take that in. So we're going to work the plan. You'll hear how we're going to fast forward some of the things that we're hoping to do. But let me say also that however large this number sounds, and it is a large number, it doesn't mean that money grows on trees. We don't have an unlimited amount of money. And remember, the distributions from this latest gift don't come until next year. But this is a substantial investment that secures the future of the college and our mission for generations to come. It is very good news. What does that mean? It means the budget works. I don't know that I appreciated anything more than receiving this news, and Sandra Quay was seated next to me, our new CFO, who, by the way, has jumped right into the middle of everything to make our budget work better, and showing her the news and saying, "Do you feel better?" And she said, "I feel better." This is really good news. We can make the budget work for us. You're not going to see money flying around everywhere. There won't be bags of money under desks or anything like that. But you will see us now really working toward properly funded budgets. Remember, with all the decisions we make, that $100 million of deferred maintenance, that's a lot. And getting that done is really important for the long-term success of this college and the short-term success of the students who study here and those of you who work here. Our aim is less deferred maintenance and more routine maintenance and predictive maintenance. That's where we're going to get. We are going to get there. We have a lot of work to do before we land in that place. It means we can create a vital Catawba core. We started thinking about this last year. We're going to continue to do it. A revitalized core so every Catawba student benefits from the richness of a truly liberal arts education, drawing on the vast resources of centuries of learning wedded to the very best of innovation in the 21st century, providing for the moral formation of students, deep reflection about vocation, and the most significant thinking about sustainability, all in a nurturing environment formed around our values of well-being, equity, and belonging. Few colleges will ever have the opportunity to do what we are going to do. Sit with that. Take that in. Few colleges. We have to be really wise stewards of this opportunity to provide the very best for our students. What else can we do? We can commit ourselves to the Thrive at Catawba initiative, the retention initiative that you just saw. Our provost alerted you to. You'll be thinking about this week. An initiative to help students stay on course in their curriculum and complete their education on time and with maximal success. And let me say, typically when colleges talk about retention, they do it because it's the way to keep revenues going. I want us primarily to pursue this initiative and excel at it because it's the right thing to do for our students, right? We invite them to come. We invite them to come and receive the education that we offer, and I feel a moral obligation to them and their families to do the very best to help them to succeed, to persist, and to finish. We talk about the cost of education. The best way to reduce the cost of education for a family is to help a student finish in 4 years. not 5, not 6. I know sometimes students choose to do that. They want to play another year in competition, or they want to get another minor or another major or whatever. That's a choice families make, but we have an obligation to them when we say yes to them to help them to do their very, very best. When you see Thrive at Catawba, this isn't just something to do. It is at the core of our mission and the things we value most at this institution. I look forward to that number that was in the 60s and then moved into the 70s on retention, one day hitting into the 80s, and the day it hits 90, right? And it will. That can happen right here. It will, because it's the right thing to do for our students. Another thing this means is when you have a really good idea and it raises the level of scholarship and service, remember our ideal? Scholarship with character and culture for service. When you have a really good idea that really improves the way we do that thing, we now get to think about those things as if they're a real possibility, not just a wish. It doesn't mean we'll do every idea all of us have. That would never work. But it means we can find the best of those ideas and put them into action. So we want to take care. This is what it's not a gift, it's gifts. This is what this means for us, that we want to take care. That's one way of understanding stewardship. And by the way, at every student orientation, when new students come in, I talk to them about stewardship and tell them exactly this. Stewardship is a way of taking care of that which has been entrusted to you. So together, our stewardship is to take good care of our mission and our values and the college's ideal. We want to take good care of our students and take good care of every one of you. We want to take good care of our alumni, and we want to take good care of our local community. And we want to take good care of our world. Not that I want to recall it, but you remember back in 2020 when the pandemic hit and we all came back? Yeah, how could you forget, right, Greg? But remember how we talked about coming back to campus? Catawba Cares. I was new to you then, and boy, did I see how you care. And this is our stewardship, to take good care of all those things, not just the money, but the people who have been entrusted to our care. To whom much is given. What is required of us? Let's be worthy of our mission, of our values, and of that ideal. Let's be worthy of the resources entrusted to us by those who've given so generously. This is a considerable stewardship, a trust that we all share, and it includes guarding and enriching the reputation of this college. And that reputation is in all of our hands. It's about what happens in classrooms and labs, in athletic competition, in performance venues, and all the experiences that our students have, and in all the interactions students and their families have with each of us across campus every day. You may be sitting in an office hearing phone calls from a family. You have this trust, just like a professor in a classroom, just like a coach in an athletic competition. Some of you have just recently come to Catawba. Boy, what a time to come. It's a special place, and we're in a very good place. So we welcome every one of you. We're so glad that you're here. But also, some of you have been at Catawba for a really long time. You have double digits. It's been a while. You and your board have kept this college strong. You have done much good, and you are to be commended for that. I hope you'll receive this very good news as an affirmation of all the good that you have done for this institution. That good has gone a very long way. So with all of this news, I hope you can sit here together and take a moment and appreciate all that's happening here at Catawba College. I hope we can all appreciate that we get to be a part of it, because very few people get to be a part of what's happening here. Very few will get to be a part of what we'll do in the years to come. I hope we'll all appreciate the privilege that is ours. So thank you for your dedication and your work, for building confidence so donors will give as they have, for being patient as we move toward the season of the life of this college where we realize even more of our hopes and aspirations. And with all of those aspirations, some of which are pretty audacious, if you need a reminder about what we're doing, go over to Abernathy Gym and walk into the entryway and look at that wall where our alumna Mercedes Wampler said, "It can be done." And it can be done at Catawba. I want to welcome our board chair, Bob Arnold, to make a few remarks in light of this very good news. Welcome, Bob.
This is a bit of fun, isn't it? Twice now we've been able to have some fun. My name is Bob Arnold. I'm a 71 grad. I'm married to a 71 grad, fortunate enough for her to hang around with me for about 53 years. Just anecdotally, that's for her. My mom, a school teacher back in the 60s, said, "Bobby, you can go to school anywhere you want to except for Chapel Hill," because she knew I'd lose my way, and she was probably right. But she didn't mean I could go to school anywhere I wanted to. She was a class of 46, as was Dad, and her mom and dad were 25, 26, and her grandparents were even further back than that. So what she really meant was, you have to make up your own mind that you're going to Catawba College, because if I stuff it down your throat, you won't like it. And so I made the right decision, and here we are. So my job today is to add some context to this number, $600 million. What does that possibly mean? So I want to go through 4 sets of numbers that'll help us get our brain around where we find ourselves this morning. But before I do, this weekend as I was putting all this together, it occurs to me that some of these names, this new neighborhood that we're moving into, effective today, is a snootier neighborhood than we once lived in. So I'm thinking about, Catawba College is not snooty, so if we're going to move into a snooty neighborhood, how do we keep from being perceived as snooty? Something for me to think about. So the first set of numbers I want to share with you, or the first little bit of data, comes from Forbes magazine. Annually, they do an assessment of every institution in the United States, and it's based on finances. It's Sandra World. They make no judgments. It's about numbers. It's pure data driven. So they assign a number, like a grade, as you give your students grades. Each institution gets a grade based on the numbers and an associated letter that goes with it. So not going to go through all of them, but let me start at the bottom of the A+ list just to make a point. So Columbia University, a 4.01 gets an A+. Northwestern University, 3.99, they get an A. Harvard University, 3.98 gets an A. Rice, 3.97 gets an A. MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, 3.97 gets an A. Pause. At 3.96, an A, Catawba College. Let me go past Catawba College and keep reading just for a moment, because this is a really cool neighborhood that we've moved into. Emory University, 3.95. Johns Hopkins, 3.95. Trinity, 3.92. Davidson College, 3.89. Wake Forest, 3.88. I don't know about you, but I like being on this list. I like being mentioned in the same sentence as all of these other institutions. But let me underline that Forbes did not say we were like those institutions. They just said we have the same strong finances that these other institutions have. So that's set of data number one. Set of data number two is a list of institutions with endowments between $580 million and $600 million. And again, this is a pretty good list to be on. Let me share this with you. University of South Carolina and Columbia, Creighton University, Mississippi State University, Loyola Marymount, University of South Florida, University of Connecticut, Dickinson College, Occidental College, Duquesne, Oklahoma State, Wheaton, and that's the Illinois Wheaton, and Creighton University. And Catawba's right there with those colleges. Good neighborhood, huh? This set of numbers I like the best because it levels the playing field. So there's endowment and then there's endowment per student. So if you're 25,000 students, you're sure to have a bigger endowment than we have, right? This levels it down. Here's endowment per student nationally. Brown University, Hillsdale College, Berry College, Northwestern University, University of Chicago, pause, Catawba College, Vassar, Denison. Good neighborhood. And then lastly, endowment per student in North Carolina, and if unless you're new, you've heard this before. We like this group too. So in North Carolina, it's endowment per student, Duke at number 1, Davidson at 2, Catawba College at 3, Wake Forest University at 4, and frankly, a distant 5, UNC Chapel Hill. So that's our neighborhood. I like our neighborhood a lot. So last time we were fortunate enough to be here, I closed by quoting a guy named Terry Bradshaw. The infamous Terry. It's dangerous quoting Terry Bradshaw. He's a folksy guy, an all shucks guy, but he can say some really smart things. So Terry said, I heard him speak several times, and he said, share your goals with your friends. Don't keep them inside. Share them with your friends, and if you succeed, you can party together. And if you fail, they can console you and they can encourage you. So last time we were together, I think our endowment moved to $300 million, and I shared that I'd love for us to be at $750 million. Well, we're not there yet. But where's Coach Mack? I saw him earlier. So getting from $600 million to my goal of $750 million is not a layup, right? That's not easy, but it's a doable shot. It's a makeable shot. So I want to raise my own goal a little bit and imagine Catawba College with $1 billion endowment. Where's Meg? We need to make sure she didn't fall just then. So Dr. Nelson will put together a group of people, and they will imagine what Catawba College would be like with $1 billion endowment. It's a doable goal. I'm 75 years old. I hope that I'm able to see us hit that B number. You might have to carry me up here, but do it, please. So here we are. Good times. I've seen Catawba just wonder if we're going to make it, and I don't worry about that anymore. It's a great moment. So, Dr. Nelson.
So earlier I thanked all of you because you helped create the conditions where people will be this generous to the college. I have to also say thanks to Meg Dees and our entire advancement staff for all the work you do. And then don't at all underestimate the significance of the work of our Board of Trustees who give confidence to people that this college will thrive and do the right thing. And I've seen a lot of boards, and I have a lot of friends who do this work. This is a truly marvelous Board of Trustees, and we should remember to thank them. So Bob mentioned we are, by the way, we're going to do some gatherings. Yeah, we're going to imagine Catawba at $1 billion. Not because of the money, but because, remember, that first gift allowed us to imagine some things we could do that maybe we weren't confident, and now we started to do some of those things. And now that's doubled. Just take it in. It's doubled. And we get to exercise that imagination again, but it's also doing the things. And we're about to talk about the things we're doing. But I don't want to brush past Earl's enrollment report, because that's what we do. It's not just about getting a class of a certain size. It's finding the students that we believe belong here at Catawba every year, year in and year out, because we think they will not just succeed, but they'll thrive here at Catawba. And they'll grow to be the kind of people who our alumni are all over this world. So impressive, who do so much good in the world. We're looking for that group every year, and then we want to bring them here and, yes, nurture them and challenge them and watch them grow and watch them thrive. That's why we're talking about these numbers. So when you hear imagining Catawba at $1 billion, that's not to be rich and fancy. It's none of that. It's to ask, so how can we do what we do for our students even better than we've ever done it before? And don't forget what Glenn said, and do it for generations. You are a part of something that will affect people in 2051 when the college celebrates its 200th anniversary. Some of you will probably be here. And then beyond that, that's what we're a part of right now. So take all that in. We're in a good place, aren't we, Dr. Brownlow? We're in a very good place. But there's some stuff to do, and we need to tell you 2 updates. So we're about to, you know, last year, this feels so weird to just pivot from that to this, but we're going to, because actually this is a part of telling the story of Catawba College. So we said this time last year that we were enlisting some help from the outside to help us think about how to tell the wonderful stories that make up the story of Catawba College in more compelling ways, more broadly to more people. So we're going to give you a preview of the brand awareness campaign that is going to hit the streets. And just to our friends online, you're welcome to listen in if you like, but thanks for being here, and if you need to go off and do something else, you're welcome to do so. We want to update you on good news about 2 important items. The first is the brand awareness campaign, and the second is we want to tell you about capital improvements on campus. I'm going to do the capital improvements piece briefly at the end, and then there will be a session with Dr. Lee Ball. He's going to talk about sustainability on campus. And teaser, if you want to see some, I'm going to tell you about it. If you want to see some of what's coming, you should be there for Dr. Ball's presentation. But now for our awareness campaign, our brand awareness campaign. So we create a strategic plan, and one of the priorities in that, as part of one of those priorities in our strategic plan, we engaged MindPower, a group out of Atlanta, as our partner in helping to promote Catawba College in North Carolina, in the Southeast region and Mid-Atlantic region, and nationally. This involved solidifying how we think about how to tell our story and to introduce the college to a much broader audience. An effect of this would be that when some of you introduce yourself to somebody and they ask where you work and you say Catawba College, You might get a blank stare, or you might get some knowledge, kind of scant knowledge, but they don't really know the place. As this takes place over the next few years, you'll have fewer people not knowing about the college, because we're going to raise the awareness. That's why it's a brand awareness campaign. We're taking our Catawba brand and we are raising the awareness of that brand. Think of it as our moment to reintroduce Catawba College to the world. The campaign will inform our development and admissions materials. So a new comprehensive campaign is coming around the corner, right, Meg? And also, admissions happens every year. This brand awareness campaign informs that, but it is not limited to that. In fact, it is focused more broadly than that. We are quite sure this campaign will help give us a lift in recruitment. We are quite sure it's going to help us to raise more funds for the institution. But the aim of the campaign is to remind people who know the college what we're all about, and for the majority of the world who don't know who we are, to give them a sense of all the good that is Catawba College. We selected MindPower out of an array of national firms, really, really good firms that Jody brought to us to consider. They stood out because of the way they work, and they just seem to get us. And I think they have proven that to be true. They went to work learning about who we are. Some of you met them on campus in sessions. They met our students. They came to campus. They got to know us. They talked to us. They listened to us. They also went out into the marketplace, and they just asked questions. And they did some research to find out what people think about us, what they know about us. And the good news is that there's about a third of the folks in the research they did who know who we are and have a really positive opinion of us. They said the good news is we don't have bad news about the college. People like you. The downside is that only about a third know about us. Another third have heard of us, but they don't know enough to have an opinion of us. And then another third, roughly, don't know about us at all. You've experienced this when you're out and about. So no surprises there, but we have some research to confirm that. So they went to work learning about us, talking to representative groups on campus, and that included students and also our boards. They spent time with alumni, with our boards, students, and some of you participated in those sessions as well. Then they brought to us, some months ago, 3 different options for telling our story. So they took our brand and gave us 3 different ways we might approach telling the story of the college. We liked elements of all 3. In fact, if you just said we just have to pull it out of a hat, I think we would have been happy, Jody, with any one of the 3. They do really, really good work. But I want you to note this isn't an ordinary awareness campaign. We're not talking about just a single static billboard that you'll see for the next 5 years sitting out on I-85. We're talking about a narrative approach to brand awareness to tell the story of the people who are Catawba College. Think less institutional and more personal. So we wanted to choose that proposal from them for the awareness campaign that would best fit this narrative approach. And what will happen is you will see this roll out in North Carolina first. We will saturate the state. We'll then test the response to it, and then we'll start branching out into regions like Atlanta, metro area, Washington, D.C. We'll move that way up and down the eastern seaboard, and we'll then move more nationally. This will take place over time. And in fact, if you want to see a campaign that's in its 2nd phase that they showed us, take a look at Pace University in New York, and you'll have an idea of the approach that we're taking. It's been very successful for them. Our aim is for people to have a clear sense of who we are. Some of you sit in orientation or prospective student sessions. I do the thing where I say, a lot of people ask you what you're going to do, but we're going to ask you not only what are you going to do, but who are you? And who do you want to be in this world? This is really framed around us asking, who are we as a college and who are we going to be in this world? And remember, in our strategic plan, A College of Our Own, the 10-year horizon for 2033, those pieces of that horizon are all about who we are and who we're going to be. The 5-year plan is about what we're going to do, but the real horizon is about who we are going to be in this world. This campaign is about that. It's going to tell about what we do, but it has a feel of who we are. So with all the feedback that we got from all the groups, all the focus groups, we tested these concepts. They brought 3 concepts. We went out and we thought 2 of them especially resonated. We went back to some focus groups and said, tell us more. Tell us what you think about how this represents the college. Credit to MindPower again, so many elements of each of the options resonated, but we had to choose one, and we did. We chose the one that resonated the most and that we think rose above all the rest. So let's take a look at where we landed. We're going to give you a bit of a preview, and then we're going to tell you some more details. Let's watch this video.
Our roots run deep here at Catawba College. So do our ambitions. We're pushing forward into life-saving, cutting-edge genomics research, powering up with geothermal heat and solar energy, going after national championships, and saying yes to the impossible, and then delivering on it. We don't just talk about saving the planet, revolutionizing education for the next generation, innovating business, unleashing creativity, or pioneering better, kinder, smarter healthcare. We do it. Good change starts here, with us. And it goes far. Just you watch. Catawba College, good goes far.
Good goes far, playing off all the ways in which Catawba has done such good work, has developed students to be good people and formed alumni to not only make a good living, but live a good life, to be good citizens who do so much in the world and who make such a good impact. And by the way, that emphasis on citizenship goes way back at this college, and never has there been a day that it would be more important than now. This is more than simply about recruiting students. It is about telling our story in a compelling way that prospective faculty, staff, parents, and yes, donors know that we are a learning community and that they want to be a part of it. So we're going to run this campaign over the next couple of years. We'll assess it, we'll revise it as needed, and then we're going to do it again. And Jody's now going to tell you a bit of what you can expect, and you'll keep seeing, some of you saw your faces up there, you're going to see more of you up here in the moments to come. Jody Bailey, take it away.
Thank you. Good morning. I thought this would be the most exciting part of this morning, so it's a little hard for me to follow the earlier announcement. But as you all can imagine how excited I am that we've been working on this for the last year and finally bringing it to life. It's like birthing my second child. So I want to take a quick moment to thank each and every one of you who helped us to get to this point. A lot of you participated in focus groups, did surveys, photo shoots, video sessions, on and on and on, listening to me ramble. So thank you so much for helping us get here and be featured in so many of our elements. As Dr. Nelson mentioned, it's about telling the story of our people. We are what makes Catawba so special and unique and amazing, and good. So thank you. What did you think of the video? Great, right? So to make it even better, the voiceover was done by Laura Welch, Catawba College class of 2008. She was a theater arts performance major and is now a professional voice actor. We are so happy to have found her and got her to agree to be part of that, and we can imagine her doing some additional work with us in the future. So another wonderful tie to our alums. Good goes far. This concept speaks to our goal of graduating responsible citizens. It creates a sense of momentum and reach. It allows for the best of the past while keeping an eye on the future in our storytelling. It supports our promise of cultivating a thriving, livable world. I have too many things in my hands. As our research indicated, we have a blank slate to influence what people know about Catawba College. Our brand journey is just beginning. I want to take a moment and show you just some of the hundreds of amazing new photos that we're going to use in our media campaign, on our website, social media, and in print materials. On August 26th, we will launch our media campaign in the Charlotte, Greensboro, and Raleigh markets. And as President Nelson indicated, we have a lot of work to do in our own backyard to improve brand recognition before we expand into additional markets. Our integrated campaign will include digital, billboards, transit, social media, radio, NPR, and PBS. We are so excited to get our name out in front of all of these people. So here's a sneak peek. And here is a look at some of the advertising that you may see out there because it is a brand awareness campaign. This is not targeted to a specific age group, like a lot of enrollment campaigns are. So you may see this out in the market. Here's something that you would see on social media, on your phone. And if you're driving in the Charlotte area, we will be on buses. And billboards, we will be on static billboards and digital billboards throughout the region. And yes, we will have one on 85 in Rowan County, marking our territory. So what's next? We'll be holding brand training sessions later this week so that all of you will know how to bring this brand to life. We need you to be our brand ambassadors. It will take all of us together to make this successful and as well known as we want to be. Our office will continue to support each and every one of you throughout this journey. We will continue to take additional photos. We will capture more video. We will continue to get the word out. We want to tell your story, we want to tell the story of your students, and we need to tell the story of our alums. So please, if you have a good story to tell, make sure I know about it, and we will be telling that story. Together, we need to show the world the good impact we have on campus, in our community, and everywhere around the world. So thank you again. We're so excited to show everyone how our good goes far.
Some of you may be aware of how much work it takes to put a campaign like this together. A big thanks to Jody and her team for all their work, and again to all of you who helped with the focus groups. We really appreciate it. You'll begin seeing this later in the month, all the stuff in various venues as she noted. And we did a photo shoot in the spring. We'll keep doing photo shoots. So we're going to keep capturing fresh material. And where is Bahi? Do I see you out there? I told you we had a great photo of you and a student. Yeah, I hope you will appreciate us showing you off. And Coach Gant, I know you don't like us putting you up there, but I got to tell you, I love that photo. Like, that is so you. And so we're using it anyway. So we will have some things, and this one we don't have for you today. We may do another version of it, but I loved these, and they did a trial run for me. Yeah, you like that? It's pretty cool. Where is Kathy Green? Yeah, so I heard that you might want one of these umbrellas. And I think you are so representative of the good at Catawba College that we talk about so often, and this campaign is all about. You have done extraordinary work over a long period of time, and it seems so little, but have an umbrella. You're very welcome. All right, we have to move along. We have more good news. How would you feel about us making an entire mess of the campus? Yes, please. I like that back there. And Coach Gearing, you have a mess over in the swimming area, don't you? Because, yeah, pool, the ceiling, I think, redone, new pool deck, and locker rooms coming for one of the best swim teams in D2 athletics. Yeah. I had the privilege of being with Coach Gary when we got to show the swim teams what they're going to have this fall, and we still talk about that night. It was just so much fun. Best academics and a swim team in the nation right there, here at Catawba College, and they compete really well. So capital projects. By this, I mean not every project. That's a smaller project. I want to tell you about 5 projects that are $1 million and more, okay? And just remember, I'm going to say it now, when we're in the middle of it and you're pulling your hair out if you have it, there's a reason why we're doing this, and it really is going to be good. But it's going to disrupt campus. But let me tell you what's happening. I'm going to give you the brief on this, and then, like I said in Lee's presentation, he'll give you some more details, but then we will, as we get some of these plans further established in the weeks to come, we will hold an earlier town hall in the fall than we usually do to just give you more information about capital projects, because you're going to need to know. And some of these will not start for months, but you need to know. But let me give you just an overview of this. The smokestack, the old coal burning plant right in the middle of campus with the iconic smokestack. It's nearly 5,000 square feet. You have those barrier trees, bunch of maintenance vehicles, all that stuff there. That is all, the vehicles and the people are moving to another place. They will no longer be in the middle of campus. We will then renovate that building and do, in addition to it, will be about 10,000 square feet of additional student experience space. It was programmed over the spring by listening to students about what they really want. Think of it as an extension of the Cannon Student Center. It is going to be, though, a complete remake of the center of campus, because those barrier trees will come down. It will open up to where sand volleyball is and looking out over the football field. Imagine a really nice building with space to gather and grab your coffee and sit and perhaps study, talk. You'll see more details, but imagine walking out onto the deck that overlooks the sand volleyball court. Imagine that. We'll show you some images of that maybe. At some point you'll get to see those. Really nice change to the center of campus. So keep thinking center of campus. Next, so that is close to being designed. We're not at 100% on the design, but we're close. And we're going to get that done very soon, the design, because we are going to start demoing the building for renovation very soon. You will see construction fence go around that before you know it. And activity will start happening this fall. We plan to open that building at homecoming of 2025. And Professor Little, I can imagine the very cool venue this will be for some concerts with our students. Yeah, we should have fun there, yeah. Smokestack. Also think about this, what was the old place belching out coal smoke is now going to be really at the center of a campus that is filled with geothermal and solar power, and more to come on that and what we're going to do when we renovate that building for sustainability. It's really, really exciting. Second, we are going to renovate our two largest residence halls, Salisbury Rowan and Standback Hall. By the way, the smokestack project, two families have generously given $7.8 million, it's a $7.8 million project. Two families have given most of that. We'll self-fund a part of that. So $7.8 million worth of renovations in that space. Two residence halls, Salisbury Rowan, the largest, and then Standback, $17 million of improvements between them. These will be significant renovations to those two classic halls. Our students love those spaces. Salisbury Rowan is so beautiful. We're going to renovate those over the next 2 years. We're looking at construction schedules. We're about to hire a firm to do this. Little Architects, who did our campus plan, are the architects of record for the smokestack and for these two renovations. So we're about to get into the design of those two renovations. We expect we'll start on one of them at the close of next spring, and then do it, and then flip to the next one. The goal being they're both finished and reopened by fall of 2026, 2 years from now. The smokestack would be done in that fall of 2025, and then come back around to your next fall semester, and you've got the two large residence halls renovated. That's a lot. It's a lot at one time. It's in the middle of campus. It's going to be disruptive. Did I mention that? It's going to be disruptive. We thought, why not add something else to this? So you know that we got a really generous gift at the end of the fall semester to add an additional residence hall, 150 beds. Now, to make the disruption more disruptive, we, in our campus plan, looked at a few sites for future residence halls. We put together a committee for this residence hall. It involves two of our board members, Bill Wagner and Bill Graham. It also involves Sandra is our new CFO, Stefan now leading our Student Affairs Division, Caitlin Cothran, our SGA president. She is on, I appointed her to the committee. She has been highly engaged in helping us to think about this hall. And I'm forgetting someone, and Lee Ball, because everything we're doing, we want to ask, how can we build the most sustainable building? Ex officio, Monica and I are sitting on that along with Meg, so that we know our donors are aware of what's happening with us and we're doing well by them. And Bob Arnold is sitting in on all those meetings. So we have a team working on this. Brailsford and Dunleavy is an owner rep firm, project management firm. They do all kinds of services out of Washington, D.C. We have hired them as our owner representatives. They are terrific. Marcus Buckley, our interim CFO, has worked with them before. Lee has worked with them before, and I can see why they recommended them to us. They're doing terrific work and give us the capacity to do 4 major projects like this in the middle of campus simultaneously. This will go over, we're waiting for, the new residence hall is being done starting off with a design build competition. So let me tell you what that is. We didn't just go hire an architect. B&D, Brailsford and Dunleavy, helped us identify a set of really good architects and ask them to team up with a set of really good construction managers. So both the designers and the builders. We're running a competition. We're in the middle of it right now. They had to pair up. An architectural firm and a building firm had to decide to come make a pitch to us together. We had an initial Zoom meeting. All of those firms were on campus a couple of weeks ago to be with us, to hear what we're thinking and for us to get to hear what they're thinking. They will next week, end of next week, send us their proposals on a Friday, and then that committee will be in the room with them on a Monday, and we'll hear their final pitches, and we will then make a decision about who's going to design and build this building for us, and we will have initial plans in our hands. Someone's going to wonder, well, what if the firm you don't hire had a great idea? We're this design build competition, we pay them a fee, we will own the work that they do, and we can incorporate whatever we want in the final design of the building. The goal here is to get the site prep and start work no later than at the end of the spring semester this academic year. Think about this. It's a lot. To make it even more a lot, this hall, we chose a site that's going to sit on what is part of the Kettner parking lot. The goal, just remember our campus plan, we don't want a big parking lot on the best real estate on campus. We want to move parking to the perimeters. So we're going to make some site selections about where to move parking. By the way, the students are young, healthy, and they need to walk anyway, so we'll move them to the perimeter. And I have to say, the students we've talked to about this completely, like, they love this idea. It's going to put another hub of living in the middle of the campus. And by the way, it's going to play with the smokestack renovation. And this, to us, is one of the most exciting pieces of this. I think it's going to be stunning to see what the center of campus looks like when all of this is done. Now, I need to alert you that this will be disruptive. Yeah, it's going to be a mess, and there's going to be construction tape, and trust me, I love every one of these firms already rolled in and started showing us how they would provide for safety, the routes that they would bring materials in and all that. These are professionals. We're really thinking this through, but it will be disruptive. Let me say that. It will be disruptive, we'll be irritated, all of that, and then when it's done, boy, will the campus look wonderful. All of this is being built with things like our values of well-being, equity, and belonging. So accessibility is a major component of these renovations and the new build. Sustainability, right? All the things we say we value, we are showing them in the facilities that we are building and renovating here on this campus. So it's a way of us practicing what we're saying to ourselves, sort of practicing what we're preaching, to make these projects serve our students and our community in the right way. I have to add, there's actually a fifth project, as if 4 isn't enough. We know, Coach Gant, we're moving to phase 2 of Newman Park. We did the player experience, the field, the dugouts, and all of that a couple of years ago. We got a generous grant from the state this past year, and we were raising some additional funds for phase 2, think fan experience. So those of us that go out there and watch the games, we want to do away with the temporary setups and make permanent setup there and make that historic park even more beautiful. So we thought, 3, why not add 1, 4, why not add another 5 projects, all happening within a couple of years of time. You might think that's a lot. I'm here to confirm it is a lot. When I was at UNC School of the Arts, we did 4 of these at one time. I've actually been through 4 buildings, including building a major library in the middle, literally middle of campus. If you've never been through that, I should advise you it's disruptive. It just throws things off. But people adapt, and we'll make it so that it's actually, I think, a lot of fun for everyone to see the progress that's being made. And I wish you could see the face on Caitlin's, our SGA president's face when she sees what's coming. And by the way, she'll graduate and won't get to see any of this. But what she said, she may have said it to you and me, Bob, is she said, I can't wait for my 5th reunion, my class reunion, because I'll get to come back and see all of this redone. So again, many thanks to generous donors. It's not one donor, it's donors who have helped make all of this possible. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's our capital projects update. There's so much more going on, including work that will be done on deferred maintenance and all of that, but we'll just get to that at another time. But do watch when we are ready with some more of these plans and renderings so you can see visuals of all of this. We'll just call a town hall. Caitlin and I are going to do some with students, by the way, to show it to them. We'll do one with all of you just focused on this so you can know months ahead of time what's about to happen on your campus. And if you're sitting there thinking, but what about my space? Well, trust me, we're thinking about your space. We just can't get to that right now. We're doing these. And I'll just say, my word to everyone was, let's take care of the student living spaces first, and we're going to knock off a bunch of that up front. So we're moving as fast as we can on this. So It's time for Lee, right? Oh, it's time for questions because you're at 11, right? Okay. So we actually have landed with time for some questions, and if you have some, you can come to the mic so everybody can hear it. I thought Aaron was going to ask a question, but he's having to leave. They're probably going to take care of students.
Question. Please come to the microphones either in the center aisles so that everyone on live stream or Zoom could hear. We would appreciate it.
Any questions?
Don't forget to stay for Lee's presentation to see a sneak peek and get things afterwards.
Well, that's hard to believe, but I'll then see you at lunch. But what we need to do, should we just take a brief break and then, Lee, you want to start earlier? Let's take 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes, be back here for Lee's presentation. And remember, your gift is on the other side of Lee's presentation. So see you back in here in 5 minutes.
Hello again. If everyone would take your seats, we're about ready to start the next part of our presentation.
Forward is right.
Yep. And if you need to go back, you hit the other one, and it'll go back. And either one of those will work for you.
I think more than half of you stayed. Oh, thanks for staying, everybody. I think I can go with this mic a little more comfortable. I don't know about you all, but I've still reeling from the announcement, and I had the privy of knowing maybe a couple days longer, and it's just been a really surreal experience to have that really sink in and really reflect on the gravity of what's at hand for us here at Catawba. So it's a humbling time for me. So I'm Lee Ball. I am, I guess, the Vice President of Sustainability and Executive Director of the Center for the Environment. I've been here since January, and it's been a little bit of a whirlwind, but this has been an amazing place to come to. And people recently asked me about the just what's your time been like, here at Catawba. And, when I arrived, and I've shared this story with a couple of you, when I arrived, I was overwhelmed by the opportunity. It was, it's just incredible. There's a long history of sustainability. There's a lot of, environmental sustainable literacy amongst the faculty, staff, and the students. There is a lot of momentum. There's a great team in place with the Center for the Environment and all the different projects that are happening in this kind of environmental and sustainability space on campus. And, the opportunity is almost overwhelming. When I fast forward to today, when I think about it, I think about the incredible responsibility that we have to be stewards for these resources and stewards in this time in history, while we all work together to support people in the places that we love. And for me, that's what sustainability is about, is supporting people in the places that we love. And so, I don't know who took, Jody probably knows, this is kind of a famous picture. One of my favorite images, and I use it for my presentation, this is a beautiful place, right? This is a beautiful place. And our place is situated in, the wonderful Piedmont of North Carolina that's just very ecologically rich. And I think about kind of why has sustainability emerged here as a phenomenon that people want to focus on. And it's because of the place. It's because of our rivers, because of our forests, and it's because there are a lot of people that care about these things. And for whatever reason, Catawba is this Center for Learning, and we've had several decades now of people focusing on this, people like John Ware and many others that have preceded me and preceded some of you, but some of you also have been here for a long time. So, I think about our strategic plan. And if you haven't read the strategic plan, please go read the plan. There's a lot there. Thanks to Jared Tice and Christine Lynn and Earl Givens and many other people that worked on this. There is a tremendous amount of intention within that document. And if you don't see yourself and your practice there, then you maybe haven't read enough, because it's extremely thorough in a scope. And when I arrived, and I like strategic planning, I think it's really interesting. But when I arrived, I tore it apart and it was quickly evident to me that people and the place are front and center. That this place in the short term wants to do it we can to support our environment and the people that live and learn here and work here, but in the long term, we want to just solidify our stewardship of these of this place and really support the well-being of the people here, so everyone has a sense of belonging, right, in a way that's very equitable. And so, I think our master plan, that's not published yet, because the master plan is currently in the final process of being developed. President Nelson referenced Little Architecture, has been working on that with us and many people on campus. And the master plan is a similar but different type of document that also has sustainability in the center. It has people in the center, and it is really, 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 really thoughtful. So I love to, I'm kind of a biology, ecology guy from my first degree. And, ever since then, I think about nature or look to nature as a reference, as a guide, as a tool. And we're coming up with this concept here on campus that is literally campus as forest. And this is an older slide, campus as a forest, and it's been evolving. The language has evolved some. But if you look at the images on the right, the 6 images on the right, this is our campus too. And if you haven't spent much time in the preserve, I strongly encourage you to find the trailhead that is literally right outside of this building, between here and the Center for the Environment. If you are confused where to go, or maybe a little fearful of what you might find in there, the people always are more scary than like critters, right? So if, we give tours, we will be glad to take you into the preserve. Josh Cool is here somewhere. Josh is always giving tours of the preserve. He would be happy to show you the ins and outs and all the mysteriously beautiful things that are in there. But look at those pictures, and this is just 6 of thousands of pictures and images that have been captured in a very bountiful and diverse ecosystem that is right here in our front yard and a side yard, backyard, whatever you want to call it. And so how can we learn from this? How can we use nature as a model? How can we use nature as a reference in everything that we do? Campus as forest, for me, is a really powerful metaphor. If you want to understand maybe the roots of where I've come to this, I recommend looking up the Ray Anderson story with Interface Carpet and their vision of factory as a forest. And the ideas are as simple as using an ecosystem as a reference for how we can build and inform our environment. So as we build these new capital projects around campus, we're looking at nature for ideas to let our campus infrastructure act more like nature, be generous, be positive, provide ecosystem services. Not just the buildings, but also the grounds and the site work that we do around them. And take that a little step further, there's an ecosystem of opportunities, an ecosystem now of maybe responsibilities that we have to do better and to really demonstrate what's possible in 2024 and beyond at a school like Catawba. And we know that our students are deeply interested in these topics. Our faculty and staff are deeply knowledgeable and also interested in these topics. And sustainability and environment connects to every single discipline. And this is something that is really easy for some people to comprehend, and some people it's not necessarily their focus of everyday life, and maybe it's a little bit of a stretch. But there's a lot of us here that are working on trying to maybe ease or maybe make the connections to that everything within that sometimes overwhelming sustainability umbrella a little more easy to understand. So as we riff on the idea of campus as forest, I challenge you to think, how does your class or your discipline benefit from anything related to the natural world? Can the natural world inform it? Does it affect your courses in any way? And we'll get more on that later. So we've set some goals at Catawba, and I'm new, and a lot of this is a direct result of a tremendous amount of hard work by all of you, other staff that aren't here, and faculty aren't here, and students that aren't here. This, not to be cliche, but it truly takes a village to do sustainability work. We need an institutionalized approach. And for those that aren't familiar, STARS stands for Sustainability Tracking Assessment and Rating System, and it is part of the ASHE organization, the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education. This is higher ed's sustainability benchmark rating tool. It's not really designed to be a tool where we measure each other against each other. It's more of a self-assessment, but I guarantee you schools are always comparing each other all the time. If you want to compare, it probably makes more sense to compare yourself to peer institutions, Asperger's institutions, Chapel Hill, places like that, But we set a goal of becoming STARS Gold, and we reached it in 1 year. It's not easy, everyone. This was something that that Noah Upchurch and Hannah Adair and several others on campus worked extremely hard to push us to accomplish this feat. There aren't many schools in the country that have a gold rating, and we should be really, really proud. I encourage, if you want to learn about it, it's easy to find our report. You can get into the weeds or the leaves of our report. It's for me, it's fun to read. But what it will do, if you've never looked at anything like this, it really will give you an idea of how sustainability best practices in higher ed touches so many places, from HR to dining to health and wellness, and all the typical stuff like recycling and solar, and and things that you would maybe more associate with sustainability. It's even things like open access for research is measured in the report, and so it's surprisingly broad. So, there we go. Oh, that's right. I wasn't the right one. So we have begun to do a gap analysis to what would it take for us to reach platinum. Are we going to reach platinum in 1 year? I probably not. So don't get your hopes up. We came in, our gold level was on the low spectrum of the gold range, but we think it's possible. However, again, it's going to take all of our collective efforts to realize a goal like this. And if we do, looking at the next slide, to use Bob, you can't see this, but this is our neighborhood. This would be our neighborhood. On the right are, we reached carbon neutrality last year. You remember the announcement? I guess maybe it was last year, year before last. We were the 13th school in the country to reach carbon neutrality. Now, let me be clear. This is not full operational carbon neutrality. This was through offsets. There's not a school in the United States or North America that I'm aware of that has reached full operational carbon or climate neutrality. This is really difficult work. So when you start to decarbonize our spaces, that means, you know, doing away with natural gas and empowering everything with renewable energy, and also a full transition to electric vehicles that are also charged by renewable energy. So this is very difficult work to achieve operational neutrality. We have an aggressive goal where we're trying to do this, and as I'll get to later, many of these capital projects are very in sync with that goal, that have operational carbon and climate neutrality in mind. On the left are the small number of platinum schools. On the right are the 13 schools that have reached carbon neutrality. I will say that the organization that publishes the list of the schools has not updated the list to include the schools that have maintained their carbon neutrality year after year after year. Many did it once and did not continue to maintain it. So this list on the right, we're trying to get an update. We feel like it's a much smaller list of schools that have committed to this. And then if we were able to do both, in the center is basically where we would be alone. There's not a school out there that has reached carbon neutrality in some way and our stars platinum. So that's an aspiration, and I will say that for us at Catawba, we can do this because we have experience, we have interest and passion, and we're also resourced like none other. Well, very few. What this will enable us to do is create a true laboratory on campus so people can come and they can learn about how you can start to integrate these ideas on not just a college campus, but anything that resembles a campus. It can be a healthcare campus or a corporate campus. You know, you think about a lot of the challenges to decarbonization, it doesn't really matter what type of campus. Clearly there are some nuances that, you know, that do matter, but for the most part, energy is energy. This is a goal. Saying it here, it might take a little while, but we like to create goals and work towards goals. And there's a lot to unpack. I could spend the whole hour talking about stars and kind of how to achieve it and what it all means. And we were more than happy to talk to any of you that want to come and grace our presence, with you at our door to learn more about this stuff. So please come and find us. We're starting to get some attention for the work we do. And so I guess last month, President Nelson and Provost Coward and Vice President Dees and I all had the pleasure to go to Washington, D.C., and we were recognized by the the U.S. Department of Education as a Green Ribbon school. And thanks to Lisa Pope for submitting the application. She wasn't able to attend because we had our environmental summit the exact same day, the same week. But we quickly realized when we were there that we were deserved of this accolade. There were K through 12 schools from over 40 states, and we were one of 3 colleges or universities being recognized. And after hearing everything that everybody was talking about, we really felt like that we deserved to be recognized for the work that we're doing. And thanks to Lisa and also the North Carolina Public Instruction, there were applications that went to the state, and then they submitted applications to the federal government, and we were, fortunate enough to win this accolade. This is something that you can only win one time. So this is a one-off for us, but we're really proud to be in a small, small group of colleges and universities that have ever received this award from the federal government. And it's because of the work that you all do, that the center does, that we've done for years on campus. It's legitimate. We are now an official tree campus designated school. Tree Campus USA designation does not come easily. This is another group effort with facilities, the Bug Group, Hannah Adair, Jay Bolin, and many others that formed a committee to really help us get this designation. And what this means is that we have a plan to take care of our tree and our forested areas on campus. We're fortunate enough to have this large preserve, but we also have trees all over campus. What you'll see, unfortunately, I think we lost 2 trees during the storm last week, and that means that we are required now to, if we're going to maintain our certification, then we have to plant trees back. And so we have a tree, not only a tree care plan, but a tree planting plan. And when you plant trees, it cools campus, right? And because it makes more. Because we're part of the understory, and so we're getting shaded, it creates more habitat. It's beautiful. It just has all these cascading benefits when you plant trees. But you also have to care for them, and that's expensive sometimes, and it takes time. But we're committed to taking care of our forested areas, and we want to expand them, especially as we imagine campus as forests. We want campus, we're not imagining planting trees on every green space on campus, but we do want to begin to treat our areas more like natural areas. So you may see this fall where we identify some places where we're going to leave the leaves. So we'll have, instead of raking all the leaves, we may actually leave some leaves in an area to help add to the rich ecosystem that really typically is found in an on the forest floor that supports healthy life of a tree. So you'll be looking for that. We also recently received Bee Campus USA certification, and this is because of our support for pollinators. It doesn't mean that we have beehives everywhere, but we have a couple hives in the preserve. Beehives are a little tenuous these days. They come, they go. We had a really healthy hive, and all of a sudden we lost that hive. But if you commit to taking care of bees, that it's just something you have to realize that you might have to bring a new hive in. But Bee City USA certification is more about supporting pollinators. And if you haven't seen them on campus, there are pollinator gardens that were recently planted, and they're located in multiple places on campus. As you walk campus, start to keep your eyes open for the pollinators. The pictures in here, I think a lot of these are Joe Poston's pictures. Thank you, of kind of macro pictures of the pollinators that they're already attracting immediately the first year. So we have pollinator gardens on either side of the outdoor basketball courts, and we have them on the backside of Shuford. We have them next to the Student Center, and we're going to be expanding these places in areas that make sense. So be looking for those. It adds a lot of beauty to campus. If you like photography, if you like critters, go visit them and see if you can find anything. Here's some other pictures here. We're using all these opportunities as a laboratory, and we're getting students involved. There are other opportunities to volunteer. If you in an office want to, be involved with a volunteer opportunity, then get in touch with us, and we can imagine something together. Maybe you could, either plant pollinators near your office, or we even have a campus garden where we have pollinators planted as well. So this is just another of many co-curricular type of high-impact practices where we're turning campus into a living laboratory. We held our first environmental summit for high school students this summer since 2019. So, the pandemic affected this event, and we were so excited to bring high school students back to campus so that we can increase their environmental knowledge, their literacy, and quite frankly, they leave here with an increased sense of urgency and agency because of the experience that they have on campus. They're in the forest, they're in the preserve, they're in collaborative teams of people that are, they're different from them. And it was a phenomenal multi-day experience where, students got to be together and, see wildlife, photograph wildlife, learn about wildlife, learn from experts from all over the country, convened here as educators to support them. And this is a long-going program that we're, reimagining now that we're on the other side of the pandemic, and it's a recruiting tool for us. But it really, more than that, it gets high schoolers really excited about our place, about nature, the environment, and also our role in these places. We are trying to integrate citizen science opportunities whenever possible, and these are pictures of a group of students planting white oaks at our the local research facility in Rowan County. This is a part of a much larger genetic study, but again, the idea is to get people outside, get people connected to nature, but also in really meaningful ways that supports STEM education and really gives, when you do stuff, as we all know, when you're involved with service, it inspires agency and hope, and we need as much of that as we can get these days. So the Center for the Environment, we do a lot, and one of the things that one of our initiatives is called NC Clean Future, and NC Clean Future has three main goals, and one goal, the primary goal, is to educate about sustainability, about energy and a clean energy transition. We have three areas we focus on, and one of the areas is to support faith-based communities in rural areas. So we've convened faith-based leaders for them to learn about federal opportunities around the Inflation Reduction Act and all the other federal incentives that the Biden-Harris administration has made available for capital projects with faith-based communities. We're also doing a similar initiative with our small to medium-sized businesses, where small to medium-sized businesses are right now in the U.S. They are it's an area of thin margins, and it's also an area of high demand. And we have a lot of larger companies that are asking smaller businesses for sustainability data. And we're trying to help them understand their sustainability story more regionally here in the Piedmont, and help them understand kind of not only what sustainability means, but how do you report on it? How do you do greenhouse gas inventories? What does carbon accounting look like? What is nature-based solution? How do you use nature-based solutions to support your work? And so that's an initiative. And then this is a picture of the North Carolina Independent College and Universities gathering just a couple of weeks ago in the center, where we had I think 60%. We had 60% participation from the NCICU, and this is President Nelson addressing them. We convened them to help them understand how to take advantage of, again, Inflation Reduction Act and many of the federal incentives out there. We're leaning in really strongly to learn how to qualify for these incentives. We're working with our tax accountants. We're working with our contractors, so that, and I'll give you a prime example, our geothermal system that we installed in front of the library and in front of the chapel, we're going to be able to receive about 30% of that money back because of these incentives, these federal incentives. It's money on the table if you don't, it's money left on the table if you don't apply for it. And so this is something that we feel really strongly with all of these capital projects and all the improvements on campus, that we're going to be working really closely with Sandra and her team, our tax accountants, and our contractors to make sure we don't leave any money on the table, so that good can truly go far, and we can continue to, parlay that money like a green revolving loan fund into the next project, into the next project. And that's really why that's one of the reasons the federal government set it up that way, so that you can reap the benefits from project to project to project. And we had an incredible and we had incredible interest with these schools that were in attendance to that really desperately wanted more information, because many of these schools have capital projects. They're doing energy improvements, but they don't really know where to start. And it's complicated, I mean, who wants to be a tax accountant? I mean, maybe 2 or 3 of you do in here. And we need you all real desperately. But it's a prime example again of how with sustainability work, it takes a wide variety of disciplines to come together in a collaborative team to figure out these complex problems. So many of you have seen and interacted with our Stewards program, and we're so proud of it, and we're so proud to expand the Stewards program this year. We are going to have 20, probably and counting, but 20 students that are working with us to advance these ideas of how can we use campus as a laboratory? How can you bring a good idea to us, and how can we implement it on campus? How can we have they help with our peer-to-peer education, and they do a phenomenal job, led by Noah Upchurch and Hannah Adair, and move this one too. And they are the most passionate and determined group of students you'll ever meet. And I think I have continued to have a desire to work in higher ed year after year after year, primarily because of the students that I get to interact with. And these are these kind of sustainability rock stars. If you know of students that you work with in your classes that you think would benefit from working with us, please send them to us. We hire, we pay well, and they have a phenomenal experience. From all majors. Thank you, Noah. They certainly are from all majors. The more majors, the better, actually, because we want them to we want to celebrate the diversity of how sustainability and environmental learning does connect to every single discipline. So speaking of that, you will hear me and others talk a lot about the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Many of us have our little pins. I have a couple. If somebody wants one, first 2 that come and grab me, I'll share. But we have more where they came from. This is your entry point into the work that we're doing. So if you're sitting there as a faculty or staff and you're like, I don't quite get where I connect exactly, I like to recycle a little bit, but I don't really know how to do it well, and it's hard recycling. We'll get to that later. I encourage you, implore you to look up just Google United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or UN SDGs. If you see the color wheel like this, you'll know you're on the right place. But this is an extremely diverse example of the sustainability framework that the global community has agreed upon. And so you look at things like no poverty and zero hunger and good health and well-being and quality education and gender equality and clean water and sanitation. Those are the first 6. Energy is down here somewhere, but in climate action. And so it is an extremely elegant way that we can connect every one of our classes, every one of our hobbies, somewhere to the sustainability space. And we're going to be working with faculty to really help them strengthen their connection to their of their existing courses. if you want to design new courses and new course learning outcomes, that all the better. But we're starting with this is how it connect. This is how you connect now, and again, this framework is extremely recognizable outside of the U.S. and more recognizable in the U.S. A lot of, especially in higher ed, in the corporate space, even more than higher ed, is working with the SDGs. But you go to Africa and you go to Europe and South America, and a lot of educators and people that are trying to do good in the world are using the SDGs as a framework. This is a picture of our new friend, and I don't know if Mercedes is still here. Are you here? Yes. Mercedes, one of her PhD advisors, Mitch Thomas-Show, and a very prolific author. His latest book is To Know the World. We had Mitch here this summer for a residency, and he was able to meet with lots of us, and including our core curriculum committee. We're bringing him back in the fall to continue that work so that we can strengthen our environmental learning across campus. And so we encourage many of you, if you're interested, to reach out and have an opportunity to interact with Mitch. He's going to be giving some public lectures. He's also going to be coming into the classrooms and then working with some of the leadership and working more with the core curriculum group. And this is just the beginning of our development around sustainability education and environmental learning, where we're going to start to bring more and more people to campus and try to do our best to learn what is considered kind of the edge of sustainability and environmental learning, best practices, but also learn from each other. And that's a very powerful, that was a very powerful takeaway from our time with Mitch this summer, is that we really learned a lot from each other. And he forced us to, not force us, but he encouraged us. We shared our stories, and through that time, we really made a lot of internal connections. And I think that there's a lot of power for all of us in this room and the people that weren't able to come today to continue to learn from one another and work together on these really, really important issues and really understand that we're stronger together with this work, right? That we're stronger. Our diversity makes us stronger. Our diverse disciplines make us stronger. When I talk to employers, I talk to employers quite frequently, and they are looking, and you've heard this before, they're looking for collaborative learners that are comfortable working in diverse teams and that can answer emails and look you in the eyes and communicate. That's what they're looking for. And so part of To Know the World is to know each other. I think society is always challenged with what to do with our stuff, right? And as we attempt to move towards a more circular economy, that recycling is probably the easiest way to understand circular economics. But it's an exploding field, and we all are part of it. And part of the circularity around trying to use less stuff, it means buying less stuff or buying things that are more durable, that have less packaging, and really thinking about your opportunity to make a decision while you're purchasing or when you're purchasing. So a lot of our efforts on campus we call this upstream. A lot of it is working upstream to work with our vendors and to work with our partners. Let's try our best to only bring things here to campus that can be recycled well, right? And we get this all the time. I mean, what's the point? It's all just going to go somewhere and it's not being recycled. Like, it's just going away. How many people have heard that it just goes, like the blue bin just goes to the landfill? Raise your hand if you've ever heard that before. I mean, I certainly have, and you're right in some instances. I'm here to tell you, though, at least at Catawba College, who we have a contract with for public services, we visited, well, Hannah did, and one of our students, visited the materials recovery facility just north of Charlotte in Concord, and stuff is getting recycled. It's awesome. Some good news, some bad news about this. We were hoping that our stuff went to Conover, over next to Newton, where the Catawba College emerged 175 years ago. It is a little further away, so the carbon footprint will be longer. The reason is because Republic's Conover facility takes glass. Republic's Concord facility doesn't take glass. And it's because they purchased an older facility when they purchased the company that used to operate here. We are going to, for our community, we're going to set up a glass recycling location. And again, you have to pivot and evolve and adjust with zero waste all the time. But for those of us that are just hyper, like we love recycling our stuff, then there will be a place that you can take your glass to on campus. Will it be in your office? Will it be in your building? Maybe not. It may be a centralized location, but more on that later. We're trying to figure that out because this is relatively new news. Now, the county does take glass, and the county's glass does go to a place and gets recycled. Most of the state's glass is going to Wilson, North Carolina to get recycled. So anyway, it's complex, it's changing all the time. But to go back to kind of give you an idea of what's come, some of the good news and maybe a little less comfortable news. We're going to give you some news in my presentation today. On the far left, you'll see some cabinets. And this is just because this is a company called Maxar. We're going to start to put really nice furniture type recycling cabinets all through campus because we deserve to have really nice recycling bins when we walk into some of our high profile buildings on campus. We're working with Jody's team. We're going to brand some of them with some of the Mindpower images. But we're also going to make it really obvious what's supposed to go in these bins. So that's exciting. We're also in the middle, and the two that are side by side, those are called Slim Jims, and we're going to be putting Slim Jims all throughout campus in like the hallways. So in all the different places where our current bins are located, and you're going to be able to interact with those bins, as you see and feel appropriate. A couple of changes that will affect you. So like, hang on to your seats here. And I meant to bring one, I forgot to bring it, but the bin, the blue one with the little side hook-on black bin is called a mini bin system. This mini bin system is going to replace the bin that's in your office. Okay? Couple things here. The reason this is best practice in zero waste in higher ed across the country. This has been tested over and over and over again with thousands of people. Thousands of faculty and staff have moved to the mini bin system. And so what this does is a visual reminder that most of your stuff is recyclable. Now, knowing what you just heard, if you're on, hopefully we'll work on campus with our vendors, with Chartwells and others, to reduce the amount of glass that is sold on campus because we can't recycle glass as easily, right? It's gonna be a little more effort to recycle glass. But anyway, so the little hook on is the landfill bin. And again, as a visual reminder, most of the things that we throw away that need to go to somewhere besides recycling have to go to the landfill. Here's the kicker that really will affect you. You have the opportunity now to take your bin out of your office to the closest Slim Jim, which hopefully will be a very short walk from your office. And that way you will dispose of your waste in the appropriate bin yourselves. Housekeeping will be able to spend more time deep cleaning and doing other things. It helps with sanitation with them. They don't have to get exposed to the stuff we're throwing away. And also, again, it makes us more responsible for our waste. That's the hard part. It's a little bit of a change in behavior that we're going to ask you to do. I will say, I'll let you know how I use mine. And this isn't for everybody. But I tend to put all the stuff in the blue bin And then when I walk to the sorting, I sit there and I just sort it, and then I go wash my hands. I have found that I've done this for about, I think, 8-9 years now. My previous institution, we had the same thing. And it was true. Most of the volume was handled by the appropriate size container. Again, any questions anyone have? We have a question session at the end when you go back to your offices, this has not been implemented yet, because the first thing we're doing is making sure that the Slim Jims are in the right location so everybody doesn't have far to walk. This is a pilot, it's a work in progress, so if this is something that you find inconvenient, let us know and we can help you. The last thing on this slide is a little green bin on the right, bottom right. We are piloting the further extension of our compost program, where we're going to have these compost bins located in likely if you have a kitchen area in your unit, we'll have it there. And we will have stewards will come and empty it and clean it. And so if you have banana peels, apple cores, your leftover food from lunch or whatever, you can put it in the green bin. And for those that are really interested in this stuff, we're going to get a small green mini bin to hook on the other side of your blue bin so that you can keep it in your office temporarily and then walk to the compost bucket wherever that is located in your area. So Zero Waste at Catawba is evolving. Just to remind you, most of the work is upstream, and we're really trying to just use less waste, as least waste as possible. All right. Many of you have noticed technology around campus. We have many of you have been using technology on campus, I should say, especially with the EV chargers in front of Hedrick. We are installing 4 more. Noah and I think we estimated that last semester the campus community had about maybe 15 EVs that were routinely coming to campus every day. And if some of you that are EV drivers know that the 2 chargers in front of Hedrick are often full, we're adding 4 more over by the by beach volleyball. And then we've got one for public safety, and there's one behind this building that is charging a staff vehicle. However, if you all ever have a guest that's coming, say a speaker or someone, or even a parent, and they reach out to you and say, "Hey, I've got an EV. Well, I'll be able to charge here." Get in touch with public safety or us, and we can make sure that we can make a space available just so that we can hopefully alleviate that anxiety. So in addition to our charging infrastructure, and these slides kind of overlap a little bit. Many of you are aware of our solar systems that are on top of our buildings, right? And some we've got this new array in front of volleyball. We have the older array over, by the baseball stadium. We have a few others, but the vast majority of our systems are on our rooftops. So we have this summer, we have been diligently working with a contractor, Carolina Solar Services, to do operation maintenance on them. We haven't really taken care of a lot of them over the year. A lot of times you put solar on your roof, and one of the benefits that people always highlight about solar is that you just you put it on your roof and you walk away and you never have to do anything. I mean, it's not really the case, especially on these larger systems. And so they were in a variety of type of shapes. Some of our arrays were in good shape. Some of them were in not great shape. The systems over by the baseball stadium, the canopy, is turned off right now because the foul balls have affected that system. So we're looking at a solution for that, and so that we won't have to move it. But we think we can figure that out. But one of the great things about all this work is that we're getting more sophisticated. And when you get more sophisticated, it means you have more data. And the great thing about this is that that data now we can make available to anyone that is interested in looking at it. So it could be students in finance, it could be students in Bahi's class and green tech, it could be students, anyone that's interested, or it can be our colleagues from other campuses that want to come and learn about this and learn about how we deal with deferred maintenance, how we deal with optimization, how we deal with kind of long-term planning around these systems and make sure they're still making green electricity to keep us in sync with our goals. And so you can see this one, the new monitoring system gives us 1 minute interval data, and which is phenomenal. And for those of you that love data, there's a lot to pour through there when you have 1 minute interval data, and especially when you have varying different temperatures and varying different weather patterns and heat and clouds, and all of a sudden the graph starts to really do some really interesting things. So these are just some pictures of, I know you can't see this, but if you're interested in learning more about these systems, and you want to look at, production, let Noah and I know, and we can get you connected. But we're growing our fleet of EVs. When you talk, like I mentioned before, to decarbonize campus, we have to consider the transportation piece. And you all as commuters are part of it too. Our greenhouse gas inventory counts your commute. And those of you that walk or ride your bike, y'all are the best. Now, the real estate market and opportunity around here to buy a place that is walking distance or is challenging. But again, those of you that walk or ride your bike, you are really helping us a lot. If you are carpooling, that really helps us a lot. If you are driving an EV to campus, that helps us a lot. And I will say, if you have anxiety about charging in the future on campus, don't, because we're going to install them to match the demand. Okay, so again, if you have questions about it, we try to keep our fingers on the pulse of kind of all things related to EV. I know that a lot of our EV users are pretty nerdy about this, so I might even recommend you to talk to Dr. Burgess or John Ware or someone else in the room that's been really learning a lot about how to drive an electric car. And so, but you may or may not have heard the story before, but our public safety has been really, we've been really proud of their adoption of the EV technology, and their Mach-E that they drive around has saved a tremendous amount of energy for campus, and they're really enthusiastic partners. So really applaud them for being not just early adopters, but innovators in this space amongst public safety officers that are driving electric vehicles. And here's just a couple other pictures. We've charged the equivalent of 3,000 miles a month with the 2 chargers right in front of the Hedrick, and then we're installing the 4 more. This is a picture of our. We have we have the Ford E-Transit, the Mach-E, and now we have the Ford F-150. All of this is being we've purchased these with the intent to really demonstrate how these vehicles can be used in all these different ways. And if you haven't gotten a picture with Noah and the football helmet, I can't remember exactly how this began, but we have, what's our count now, Noah? 58 people have taken a picture with the lightning and the Catawba football helmet. So it's a thing, it's a phenomenon that has just sort of emerged with the football helmet and the lightning. But come and find it and get your picture taken. And the other cool thing that Noah and our intern this summer, local man Quinn Lockhart, who's an App State sustainable technology student, interned with us this summer. If any of you were around, you may have benefited from their carbon-free cookouts that they were holding this summer, where they were cooking burgers and veggie burgers to anyone that would come by with the electric truck. And I'll try to remember. We had hours of maybe 2-3 hours of cooking, the air conditioning in the cab going full blast, the music going full blast, and I think the range on the truck only went down like 3 miles. 1% of the battery. So it's pretty compelling, this technology, and it is it's been a lot of fun to kind of get out and about. It's out in front of Hedrick right now. You're going to see it all week, and it's just a great new asset to campus. We had another great intern last year, Joe Post's son, John, who we deeply miss. But this is a picture of John out in front of the lawn right across the street, installing Spotlight Solar's array that we installed. And the idea of that array, just so everybody knows, it doesn't power campus, clearly. It's a pretty small system, but it is a symbol of what we're doing at Catawba, and it's a symbol of what is possible, and it's a symbol of what we're doing on our rooftops. We have about 800 kilowatts of solar with over 200 more planned. So we're going to be at a megawatt of solar for on installed solar on campus in the near future, which is quite a bit of power production for a small campus that is relatively landlocked. And most of our systems are on our rooftops because, as you heard from President Nelson, it doesn't make sense to put a large array in the Kettner parking lot. When I first got here, I was like, hey, what's going on with the Kettner parking lot? We can maybe put solar there. Like, yeah, maybe not. We might be doing something else there, but we don't really know. And that all happened really quickly. If you haven't been by beach volleyball lately, I recommend going down there. Our latest array is a 55 kilowatt canopy is installed and being commissioned any day, I guess, very soon. And this is also where the chargers are going to be located. And so here's just some pictures of the array being installed. You can see here they installed it, and then they winched it up in place, and then they kind of set it so that it was in line with all the other ones. And it's creating shade, and it's kind of out of the way. And it's a beautiful array in full sunshine. And it's going to be making clean renewable energy for many, many years to come. And here's a picture of people already. They're already parking under it, and pretty soon they'll be charging their cars under it. So these are just more pictures of our, since you can't get, unless you fly a drone around campus, you're not really able to see these systems. A few of them you can sort of get glimpses of, but if you Google image Catawba College, you start to see some of these drone shots, and you can see the amount of energy we have on our campuses. That's why we decided that we really need to make sure that they're optimized, that they're working well, so that we can continue to decarbonize operationally, because our generated renewable energy is a big part of this. So we have multiple studies that are happening for future projects. And if you look at the bottom left, this is a battery that is going to be installed as part of the smokestack project. It's a storage battery, so there's renewable energy storage will be able to be used as a redundant backup. It could also be used during times when there's a lot of demand on the system. This is just the beginning, hopefully, of maybe some larger storage systems that we have on campus that can really help us find really creative ways to be a model of how we can transition to a more clean energy economy. On the bottom right is the Student Center, and that project is in the design phase, where we're installing solar on the roof of the Student Center. And then also, if you look in the middle, you recognize that possibly as Kettner. And we've just recently had some estimates and kind of some schematic designs of what's possible on the Kettner roof as well. We're very strategic about how we're placing these. We're working with our envelope, the roofing contractors that have done survey work on our building, so that we know know which roofs are still under warranty. We know which roofs need to be replaced. We know which roofs don't need to be replaced. So the last thing in the world, we would put PV on solar electric on a roof that needs to be replaced anytime soon. So, that is, something that, one of the decision-making tools that we have to make. This is, we all experience, well, not all, welcome again to all the new people. You weren't here to see the disruption of the field in front of the library and the chapel, but this was a relatively large, what we call district energy system that is going to provide heating and cooling to multiple buildings. It's currently connected to the library. It's going to be connected to the chapel. And hot off the press, we think we might be able to connect it to the greenhouse that's behind Shuford for winter heating, because the loads were designed for summer cooling, because our summer cooling loads are greater than our winter heating loads, and so we have extra capacity in the winter. So we think we might be able to send a chilled water loop to the greenhouse as we think about remodeling the greenhouse, to have another laboratory on campus that really works really well. Great picture of Noah here when Duke Progress Energy came out and disconnected the natural gas. This is one of many buildings that we're disconnecting, but this was a large one that we disconnected, and it was very symbolic to take such a large building off of fracked natural gas. And so this is, it was a proud day. And on the right is some of our engineers from CMTA, that are our engineering firm, that have been working with us with many buildings across campus, and as we kind of imagine how to optimize our current buildings and make them healthier and more comfortable. Because as we think about all this work that we're doing, we're thinking about indoor air quality, we're thinking about comfort, and obviously energy efficiency. And the decarbonization, to be honest with you, is kind of icing on the cake as we attempt to, as we work on our deferred maintenance opportunities and responsibilities. We have the opportunity to make our campus leaner, and we have the ability to also de-risk our future financially, and also it helps support our health for many years to come in these buildings. And these are just pictures of that project. So here is kind of getting to the end here. This is a review of some of the capital projects that Dr. Nelson, President Nelson, was discussing. So the picture on the right, you can see that is, I think Site 2 is left over from the exercise that we did with our consultants, but the Kettner lot is a very large parking lot, so this building will by no means take up the entire lot. And I will encourage you to have an open mind, especially when I showed you a rendering, because we're not in the final design process. We're transitioning with the smokestack from schematic design to design drawing phase, and whenever pictures get shown, people have like gut reactions, but what I'll show you here in a minute is not, necessarily exactly what it's going to look like. But the creating a new core of campus and moving parking to the edges, that is a trend in higher ed. This is something that that we feel like really makes a lot of sense for us as well here, and we will ultimately have more green space in this area, and and it's going to be a very beautiful new part of campus. We'll be thinking about the forest, and we'll be thinking about the impacts and how, when we build something, how can we do it in a way that is generous and positive and actually behaves like nature. It's not going to look like the Center for the Environment, right? I mean, the Center for the Environment kind of blends in and hides on the edge of the forest. It's going to look more like some of our traditional buildings, but it will still have elements that are inspired by nature and even behave like nature. So it's really unique opportunity for us. The new residence hall, we're pursuing a couple of green building sustainability certifications that you may or may not have heard of. For the residence hall, the logo on the bottom middle called PHIUS, that's Passive House US, Passive House Institute US. PHIUS is one of the most premier frameworks for energy efficiency and indoor air quality and environmental quality. Indoor environmental quality. And so these buildings have a really super low, what they call EUI, energy use intensity, and they're going to perform very well for many years. They'll be very affordable to operate, but it will ensure that the occupants have clean, fresh, and comfortable air for many years to come. So again, multiple cascading benefits of doing this, and we're really excited not only to go through the experience, but when we get to the other side, we're going to have what's likely the first commercial passive PHIUS, they call it passive house certified building on any college campus in North Carolina. They're building one at Georgia Tech. They've built one at Berea. I think those are the only other two in the Southeast that I've been able to track. So we're creating this living laboratory, a model where we can learn from, where others can come and learn from. The smokestack, we're pursuing Living Building Challenge. And again, many of you have heard of LEED certified buildings, and we have LEED certified buildings on campus, like the addition to the Student Center in Abernathy Village. The Living Building Challenge framework is kind of like LEED next level, and it really ensures that we think about things like place and beauty and accessibility, and it really forces us to make sure that we are thinking about nature and ecosystem services and how nature-based solutions can be incorporated in a project, but also in a way that supports the people and the occupants that are using that building for many, many years to come. And also, as you can imagine, it really has a big focus on energy and some on materials and water as well. So this is going to be a real gem for us to have on campus as a place that is kind of the new, maybe one of the new hearts of campus, where we're all going to be able to enjoy and learn about what's possible in the built environment, and we'll add this to our suite of laboratory spaces on campus. All right. So the moment you waited for, I've got this is probably the only reason y'all stay. You want to see a picture of something cool. We have many iterations of drawings for the smokestack. We don't have drawings of the new residence hall, just so you know. Super early, this is what's possible from those design build firms, but we would never show those just because we're not even close to the beginning of that process. We haven't selected a design build firm for the new residence hall. But for the smokestack, we're underway. Little Architecture is the firm that is designing that building. They're also the same firm that has been working on Newman Park, and they're the same firm that has been working on our master plan. They have listened to us extensively. We've done work with students and faculty and staff, and really tried to try to capture an aesthetic that is an amalgamation of what's possible in 2024, that also stays true to the legacy of what was already there. And what was there was a coal plant. We're turning a coal plant to a hyper-sustainable building. I mean, that story itself, for me as a sustainability professional, is just almost a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something like this on a project on a college campus. There are still universities and colleges that are burning coal today, by the way. Our friends at Chapel Hill. And others, and it's very complex and very difficult to disrupt those systems. We made the decision in the 90s to disrupt that system, and we switched to natural gas. And those of you that were here in the 90s probably remember that was innovative at the time, because it was cleaner at the time. And I've heard stories about the smokestack and what the air quality was like above Catawba College. And many of you that have been here a really long time probably remember that. And it was poor air quality, not just in Salisbury, but even more on top of the college because of the coal plant. And so we're disrupting that. You know what uses the chimney now? Anybody? Chimney swifts. So chimney swifts use the chimney now, and our friend Joe Poston was telling me that they're in declining populations. And we had a conversation the other day about what can we do to make that chimney still available for the chimney swifts. Now, at the bottom, the base of it, at the different levels that will be in the smokestack, the building will kind of wrap around the smokestack. There is an idea, if structurally, if we can figure it out, the engineers are looking at this, we might be able to make a space inside the smokestack where we can go inside and like do something inside. But above that, for dozens and dozens of feet where the chimney swifts are currently residing, we want to do our best to support them and be generous and be positive, like the anchor institution that we are, Catawba College. So anyway, drum roll here, and this is, again, grain of salt, but this is what an image looks like. If you look on the left, everything on the left is new. Also the overhang would be new, and so this view is that's facing the beach volleyball court, right? Facing the football stadium, and on the far right is the old pump house, and then the middle core used to be all one ceiling, like it used to be full length. From the very bottom to the top, where they had the boilers in there and these big windows. Now, if those of you that have been in the smokestack where facilities is, it's 2 levels, and we're going to keep it 2 levels, but try and restore some of the old look of the windows, and then the upstairs on the left is going to be space. And the downstairs on the left will be space as well. Those are new spaces. And so if I go to the next, you can see from the other side, and there's an idea to have like an outdoor amphitheater beside it. So those of you that know this area, you know there's a line of trees here that we're going to be removing those trees, and because of we're Tree Campus, USA, we will plant more trees elsewhere, but the idea is to have some outdoor spaces here and have very flexible spaces indoors as well. There'll be a small cafe. There's not going to be a full restaurant here. It's going to be a small cafe. And that small cafe is really designed to, coffee and tea and just really quick things, and maybe some quick foods as well, working with Chartwells on that. And so, these are the ideas, and we're unbelievably excited about it. And then the last thing here I want to say, I need to give, I can't express my appreciation for everyone that has been working this summer so hard to get campus ready for your return, and more importantly or equally importantly, I guess, for the students' return, right? The Bud Group, specifically Kevin Klinkenbeard and Thad Adams and Franny Taylor and Sarah Barbie Kent. I don't know if any of you are still in the room. I saw y'all earlier. They have been working so hard all summer getting our buildings ready. Shout out to, I don't know if I know Casey's here and Stephanie, the IT team has been working so hard, and Hedrick and other places to get ready for the semester. And it's been, everybody's dealt with me and all of us, and maybe a little bit of impatience here and there, but this team has worked day in, day out on the weekends just to get ready for the return of class. And you're going to notice it if you haven't already. You're going to notice it, and this is really just a start. But I just wanted to make sure, and I'm sure there are plenty of people that that I haven't acknowledged, but the campus is looking great. The grounds look great despite of our tropical storm. We've rebounded, and it's going to be a very exciting year. And yeah, I think I do have maybe 30 seconds for questions, or maybe I'm over time. If not, then it's time to eat lunch, right?
I've been instructed to send you to lunch. So lunch, Jody, is in the dining commons, right? Any special instructions? So grab a t-shirt out here that they have for you, and we'll see you at lunch. Thanks so much, everyone. Thanks, Lee. Don't miss the Thrive workshop later in the day.